We have all of our technical issues taken care of, and we are ready to start our meeting. Welcome everyone to our council meeting tonight. I want to start by excusing Councilperson Barbara Tidwell, who is out of town, and we also want to excuse our county attorney, Taylor, and our county clerk, Bryson, but we're grateful to have Michelle and Jairus here with us. Thank you for being with us. We'll go ahead and have an opening by Councilmember Keegan Garrity.
Yeah, so I was out to lunch with a friend of mine and actually saw Catherine and her husband there. We were deep in conversation, so I didn't really get to talk to her. But this friend of mine is a refugee from Iran. He has his U.S. citizenship now, but we were talking about American inventions and entrepreneurship. He was saying when he was a kid, he noticed how many things came out of America and thought that was interesting because I mean, the Persian Empire has been around forever, so he's wondering how a country that's, not very old, just a couple hundred years old, has all these inventions that came out of it. He mentioned a few. The telephone by Alexander Graham Bell, who was a Scottish immigrant. Alternating current from Nikola Tesla. He's Serbian. Aspirin, which was created by Hoffman from Germany. And the nuclear reactor, which is Fermi from Italy, but all took place in the U.S. So he ended up putting his thoughts into an article that he shared with me, and I wanted to share some of the insights that he said. So he talked about how the First Amendment is a core component of American invention. And the reason being is because it guaranteed that even unpopular or disruptive ideas could be shared, debated, and refined. Authoritarian regimes could command vast resources, but without free speech and property rights, their innovations often stalled. He said, free speech must be protected if we're to continue, especially when it comes from voices we find deeply objectionable. This isn't comfortable. It means defending the right of climate change skeptics to publish research that challenges mainstream science. It means protecting the academic freedom of scholars whose conclusions about gender, race, or economics might make you cringe. It means allowing entrepreneurs to build platforms for ideas you despise. Why? Because breakthrough innovations often begin as heretical thoughts. The Wright brothers were dismissed as bicycle mechanics with delusions. Tesla's ideas about alternating current were ridiculed by Edison. Early internet pioneers were told their information superhighway was a fantasy. And so as we think about hearing things from people we disagree with, we should be really careful not to silence them. We should celebrate our right to say what we want because that ultimately pushes the best ideas to the top when everyone can participate in the marketplace of ideas. I'm grateful for the freedom of speech we enjoy in this country, and I hope we can all do our part to protect that. With that said, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Keegan. Those remarks were very, very timely. Appreciate that. Okay, could I get a motion to approve the agenda, please?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. We have not yet received minutes from our last meeting, which was just a week ago, so we will approve those at our next meeting. We'll have 2 sets of minutes to approve. So we'll go past that, and we'll move on to the report of the county executive. Mr. Daines.
This last week I had spent the time basically on the budget. We're preparing to start our meetings with the different departments and the elected official offices. Matt Funk and I will start those meetings tomorrow. Or is it Wednesday, Matt? I think it's...
Tomorrow's Wednesday.
Tomorrow is Wednesday.
So, we've gone through what we're going to propose in the meetings. We've met with the council members and kind of given them an update as to what we're doing. I think that's probably the most important task on what I'm working on now. And also meeting the various officers and people in the office. I should just make a general comment and thank everyone for the help I've received in trying to get up to speed. I've enjoyed all of the county officials and employees that I've met. Fine, outstanding group of people. Appreciate the opportunity to join this team. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. And I would like to say too, it's been 1 week since we be officially sworn in, and there's been a lot done in that week, and we have appreciated the opportunity to work with our new executive, Danes. So thank you. The next item on our agenda is a budget process update, and that basically is what you just gave, that we are hard at work in the middle of updating that and getting ready for public hearings that will happen later. 6B, the bankruptcy issue. Jairus, can we?
Sandy,
Yes.
do we do the appointment now, or is that later?
Did you want to make an appointment tonight, George?
I'm not sure how that's set up on your agenda. Yes, I have.
I think now would be the time to do that. I forgot.
I've nominated Mr. R. Kurt Webb to be a deputy county executive, and I would ask for advice and consent from the county council for that appointment.
Okay.
Mr. Webb is here. Maybe he
And
should
stand up, Kurt, so we can.
I just
Thank
say,
you.
Mr. Webb is an experienced businessman. He served in the legislature for 8 years, Kurt?
13.
13. Time flies when you're having fun. But he comes in with experience in government, experience in working with committees, experience in budget, and I think he will be a significant addition to the team that we're running in the county executive office. I would ask for your advice and consent to employ him in that capacity.
Okay, could I have a motion to that?
I'll make a motion that we approve our executive's recommendation of R. Kurt Webb as the Chief Deputy Executive.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we accept the appointment of Kurt Webb as our deputy executive. Is there any further discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, welcome, Kurt. Glad to have you. Okay, sorry, I should have brought that up earlier. Now we'll go ahead to 6B on our agenda.
All right, thank you, Council and Chair, for letting me speak on this. We do have Craig McAllister here. If I say anything wrong, please correct me. We've been working with the Treasurer on this to make sure that this is handled properly, and he's done a great job in that effort. Basically, what this is that there's an individual who filed bankruptcy. There were some taxes due, and then some interest that was accrued on those taxes due. Through the legal process, through bankruptcy court, those a certain amount, and the tax obligation that we have right now is $475.27. That's the amount. So $475.27 was owing, but based on the actions that took place in bankruptcy court under federal law, we cannot charge that individual. So we're just asking the council to approve this resolution that has been provided to you, basically stating that the amount is canceled and released. And that's what we're asking today.
Did we get a number on that, Jairus? The top of it just says 2025 dash.
Yeah, that will need to be assigned. We drafted this today, so that will have to be assigned afterwards, and that will be provided in the...
That's okay that we pass it without having that number assigned yet.
Yeah.
All right, does anyone have any questions for Jairus about this bankruptcy? All right, I would entertain a motion
I
then.
would go ahead and move to approve resolution 2025 of the parcel 98034.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution that is numbered 2025 dash to be determined about Mr. Brandon Bear's tax obligation to the county's property tax records. Is there any further discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Jairus. Okay, the next on our agenda is Brandon McBride from Logan Regional Hospital.
Well, good evening. Thank you for having us join for a few minutes this evening.
Can you restate your name, even though? I
Yes,
said
I'm
it?
sorry. I'm Brandon McBride. I'm the hospital president at Logan Regional Hospital.
And Emilio Rodriguez, I'm the communications manager at Logan Regional Hospital.
Great. Well, we wanted just to come tonight and spend a few minutes with you to do two things. One, to give you a brief update on some things that are happening at the hospital. And then two, to give you a brief summary of our tax-exempt status and our reporting that we completed earlier this year in the spring with Barbara, who represented the county council. That's the formal annual process that we go through, but we like to always come back in the fall and circle back with the full council, give you a brief update on our charity reporting, and the amount of charity care that we're providing to the community as a tax-exempt, not-for-profit organization. So thank you for pulling those slides up for us. So we can go to the next slide. Just wanted to give you a brief overview of Intermountain Health and Logan Regional Hospital and our mission and focus on helping people live the healthiest lives possible. That's something that's really important to us, so much that we really have changed our business model to try to get upstream and change relationships with insurance companies and contracts to help keep people out of the hospital. That's our goal in helping to change those relationships so that we get paid a fixed amount from our insurance companies, and then it's our responsibility to try to proactively manage the health of the community. We can go to the next slide. As a not-for-profit organization, our goal is to ensure that we provide the best care possible, but do it regardless of our patients' ability to pay. And we can talk a little bit about our financial assistance policy and the charity care that we provided to the community here in just a moment. We can go to the next slide. For-profit health care versus not-for-profit health care. I won't spend a lot of time on this, but really want to focus on the right side of the screen. Our focus, again, as a not-for-profit organization is to make sure that we are reinvesting back into the community through health and wellness, that we're prioritizing our offerings to meet the community need, and sometimes that comes at a loss. We have a number of services that we provide at the hospital that are not profitable, but we do that because it's the right thing to do for the community. And our goal really is to focus on long-term sustainability rather than short-term gains. Go to the next slide. Just a little overview of Logan Regional Hospital, where we currently stand on some of our key statistics. We have about 1,100 employees. We call all of our employees caregivers. So about 1,100 caregivers, 146 licensed beds. We're the largest level 3 trauma center in the state of Utah. Our volumes actually approach many of the level 2 trauma centers, which is the next largest level up. But we're currently a level 3 trauma center. We have dozens of medical and surgical specialties and currently have over 400 physicians on our medical staff. Go to the next slide. Here are just some key highlights from a volume standpoint from 2024. Delivered just under 2,000 babies, just about 7,500 surgeries. That was only what was performed in the hospital. We also have a separate entity, which is the Logan Surgery Center, which is not under our not-for-profit status. It's a separate entity of Intermountain Health, where we performed about another 2,500 surgeries on the hospital campus, and then just under 32,000 emergency room visits. So a very busy ER as the community continues to grow. Next slide. This is really where I wanted to spend some time with you and just really highlight our focus on providing financial assistance and charity care to the community. I think, as all of you know, as a tax-exempt, not-for-profit organization, we have to demonstrate to you and to the community that what we would have paid in property tax, we are providing at least that amount, if not more, in financial assistance or charity care to the community. And so the numbers you see here the 2024 estimated property tax for Logan Regional Hospital would have been about $2.1 million. In lieu of that, we provided $13.4 million in pure charity care or financial assistance. And what I want to make sure I highlight on that number, two things. One, that's an adjusted number. That is not a gross number. So we adjust that number down for what we would actually have been paid had we billed insurance or a patient for that amount. And two, that is not bad debt. So we have a separate bad debt bucket that's completely separate from the $13.4 million in charity care that we provided. The other piece that I'll mention as well is that we do, as an organization and as a hospital, we do pay property tax. It's not as if we are tax exempt across the board. We pay property tax on any building where we have a physician leasing space from us and there's revenue that we're generating from a physician lease. We pay taxes on those properties. We also pay taxes on all of our medical group clinics. So the Budge Clinic, North and South Cache, Logan Clinic, those are not under the property tax exemption, and we pay property taxes on those buildings. This is something we're really proud of. We love the ability to provide care to the community at the highest levels, striving to provide the best quality and most safe care we can, while also offering over $13 million in pure financial assistance to the community. Let me just pause there and see if there's any questions on the charity care piece.
Do you have examples or a breakdown of some of the ways you're investing in it?
Well, that number there is just, again, it's just pure charity care. So that is a patient presents to, let's say the patient presents to the emergency department and they need care. Even if it's non-emergent, they present for a surgery and don't have the means to fully pay for it. We have a very robust process that goes up to about 300% of the poverty limit that allows for individuals and families to receive financial assistance. And so that's what that bucket of money is. So yeah, I mean, there's thousands of encounters that would add up to that 13.4 million, and that can be both elective and emergent encounters. So yeah, great question. Thank you.
Brandon, will you also explain, oh, sorry. Go ahead. No, will you explain the relationship to that number as far as what the difference between what Medicare pays and what Medicaid pays?
Yes, yeah, great point. So typically we get paid, Medicaid is typically the lowest payer. We get paid anywhere between 20 and maybe 30 cents on the dollar from Medicaid, from our gross charges. Medicare is usually about in the 40% range, and then private insurance is a little higher, typically in the 50 to 60, sometimes 70% range, just depending on the contract. So yeah, it's a really good point. So when we adjust that number down, we adjust for the fact that we would only be getting paid 20 to 60 cents on the dollar, depending on the payer, to make sure that's an accurate reflection and we're not overstating the charity care provided.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I jumped ahead in your presentation.
Oh, you're good.
You're going to answer my question here shortly.
Okay, great. Okay, I'll turn some time to Emilio to talk a little bit more about our community benefit.
If you could go to the next slide, please. Yeah, so every 3 years we partner with the Bear River Health Department, and what we do with them is that we complete a community health needs assessment. Essentially, we evaluate the health needs of our community, and we do that through surveys, through meetings, through discussions with community leaders and the community at large. And what you see on your screen right now are the results of that assessment from 2023 to 2025. Those were to improve mental well-being, improve chronic disease and health outcomes, address and invest in social drivers of health, and access to care. Some of the implementation strategies that we've implemented that support those, and I'll just list a couple here because there's several of them, is that we've deployed upstream mental well-being resources. We've improved access to behavioral health care, expanded community-based suicide prevention, deployed community health workers, reduced childhood vaping, building community capacity, improved educational outcomes. There's a lot of ongoing work that is being done by our incredible community health team. As I mentioned earlier, this was the results for the 2023 to 2025 assessment. our community health team has recently done that same assessment. This past April, I believe they met on April 21st to discuss the results of the community survey. And so right now, our health needs that we're going to be focusing on for the next 3 years are currently being approved by our Intermountain Board, and we'd be happy to share that information once we've received that approval. We'd be happy to send that over to you. But I just want to go back to one thing that Brandon had mentioned earlier. A phrase that we really love at Intermountain is that we're always swimming upstream. And essentially what that means is that we're being proactive as we can to solve problems rather than just reacting to them. And this community health initiative and our charity care are just two small examples, two fairly large examples, I should say, on how we're doing that. And so we're very, very proud of what we've accomplished and what we see as opportunities moving forward. Does anybody have any questions about community health before we move forward? I believe that actually is the end of our presentation. If anybody else has any other questions or comments.
I will just say, I happen to be a lucky guy, serves on the board of Logan Hospital, been on it for 12, 13 years, and they are a very, very valuable community partner. And I have been through many of the committees there and appreciate their task and their service to the community and all that they do. Some very great people there, so.
Thank you. Yeah, we appreciate the opportunity to be here. We appreciate the partnership that we have with each of you, your support, and the relationship we have with you to be able to work through any challenges that come up as they arise. I will just mention, so you're aware, we are getting close to finalizing our large project on our campus that's been ongoing for many years. We're just about a month away from having substantial completion. It's going to be really nice to have that project done and not have a major construction project going on the campus, at least for now. We are needing to expand our emergency department and our lab, hoping to be able to get that approved and maybe move forward with that in the next 1 to 2 years, and we'll keep you posted on the timing and what that looks like. So thank you for allowing us to be here tonight. It was a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is it close enough to 5:30? You can do public hearings? Okay. The next item on our agenda is our public hearings, and we're going to start with ordinance 2025-26, the Lauer Foods. And we'll have Angie present on that. And then as we open this up to the public in each of these, when we open it up for public hearings, we'd ask you to please be respectful in your comments and please keep your comments to 2 minutes. And we'll have Andrew being a timer. He'll gently let you know that your 2 minutes are up. So if we can make sure everybody has a chance to speak.
Hello. Good evening. Angie Zetterquist, Interim Director of Development Services. The first rezone that we have for you tonight, and I believe Andrew's bringing up the presentations, is 7.8 acres located just south of Richmond, actually on their boundary, their southern boundary. It's 7.8 acres that they want to go from the agricultural A10 to the industrial zone. It's located just off the highway, about 700 south. And it's a project that's associated with the Lauer Foods facility that's located within the Richmond city limits. And again, this property is just immediately south of that. But as part of their bigger project where they're expanding, this would be an area where they would do a kind of a parking and staging area for their trucks. And I believe there might be a scale located on that too as well, but we'll go through all the specifics of that project and that development of that piece through the conditional use permit process if we get the rezone approved. The question is, with the facility in Richmond and this property located immediately south of it, why don't they annex? And it's a personal decision to not annex into Richmond. And Richmond has commented that they have no concerns with the rezone. This image here is a vicinity map that kind of shows you that parcel in blue. The gray area is the Richmond city limits. And then the next slide just kind of shows the aerial there. As we look forward to future development, if the rezone is approved, they are working with UDOT currently on gaining access from Highway 91. It's a limited access area. so they have to go through a process to purchase those access rights back. There is a county road on the south side, on the east side of the property, South State Street, that would probably require some improvements. And then there's potential for a road along the south boundary of this property to align with 9400 North on the west side of the highway. As far as Planning Commission's recommendation, a public hearing was held on August 7th, and they recommended approval to the County Council on a 6-0 vote, finding that the property is consistent with the industrial zone, it's appropriately served by public roads and services, it's consistent with the general plan as far as being within the urban expansion overlay, given its proximity to Richmond. And it will be part of a property that's immediately adjacent to their industrial facility in Richmond. So, with that, if you have any questions for staff.
Anyone have any questions for Angie? Okay, thank you. Is there anyone here from the public that would like to speak to this rezone application?
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Yeah, I think they didn't realize that was their
Yeah, this is your time.
Jake Latham, Sunrise Engineering, representing Lauer Foods. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I don't know that anybody has any questions.
I was at the planning and zoning, so I have no questions.
Just a question as to why you chose not to annex into Richmond City?
The owner made it very clear it's not in his interest right now, and Richmond City has also shared that sentiment. But if Alan, if you'd like to delve into it.
Well, Alan Lauer, and I'm the owner of Lauer Foods. I guess our family business is something I have a great passion to build and then pass on to my family. And we've worked hard to build our business and to be good partners in the community. But I've been in the meat business, I'm 65 years old, and I know what's going on in my industry. And over time, as town grows around meat businesses, they're asked to leave. And I've invested so much, I can't leave. And so I don't want the town to get past me. And so that's plain. And I bought that land to the south as a buffer. In fact, I bought it from Matt Funk. And if he stood here, he would agree with what I'm doing. So, but that's why.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else from the public that would like to speak to this? Okay, now,
Then I would move to close the public hearing.
I'll second.
it's moved and seconded that we close the public hearing. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, all right. Ordinance 2025-28.
So this is a very long name, the SBA UT 24138-B Paradise Rezone. It's actually a small request for approximately a 2,500 square foot area for the public infrastructure overlay zone. That would allow for, the PI zone would allow for the construction of a telecommunications facility. And so that's all the land that they need in order to construct that future telecommunications facility. With overlays, the underlying zone remains the same. So it'll be the A10, and it will just, again, have this overlay in order to allow the construction of a cell tower. This is the property in blue, as you can see, just north of Paradise boundaries, which is in the dark gray. The next slide will show the aerial, and that yellow dot kind of represents the general location where that overlay will be and the new tower constructed. As far as Planning Commission, public hearing was held on September 4th, and they recommended approval on a vote of 6-0 to County Council, finding that the subject property is consistent with the overlay zone. And we did receive one comment from Paradise Town. They were concerned about the rezone and the future telecommunications facility. because this property is located within their annexation area, and their code is a little different in that it requires stealth telecommunication towers or being located on buildings so they're not as visible. The county code does not have any requirements for design of towers or requiring them to be stealth, so it would just be what it is, a tower, telecommunications tower. But again, they did recommend approval for that small overlay zone on this property.
Okay, anyone have any questions about that for Angie?
After the public hearing,
Okay, we'll go ahead and open that up to a public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak to this SBA rezone for the cell phone tower? This is your time.
I'm Ben Feldman. I'm just representing the telecommunications carrier if you guys have any questions. So what is this?
You have any questions for?
This is their time. Our time comes later.
Yeah, if you have anything you wanted to present to us about that.
Nothing right now till the CUP, so.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we close the public hearing. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, ordinance 2025-20.
hang on, now I have one question on that.
Don't we do that when we're down here approving it?
You know, close the public hearing, but on this, I can ask questions, I believe, on this property.
Okay.
And the one question I had was, in that little area, that little spot within that 16 acres, the whole 16 acres is affected then by that overlay zone, or will it be very specific just in that one spot?
It'll be very specific. We'll have require that they provide the legal description for that area so that it's very limited to just that portion and not the entire 16.
Lay within that area, okay.
Yes. Yeah, if you look at our GIS maps, kind of pull it out and put that overlay on, you'll see a lot of little postage stamp overlay zones for that PI for telecommunications facilities. So.
Thank you, that's all.
Thanks, Angie.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead with 2025-29.
So this is the Sparks Venture rezone. It is a request to rezone 10 acres from the agricultural A10 to the industrial zone. This parcel is located near Smithfield. If you want to go to the next slide. This is kind of the vicinity map. So this is west of Smithfield, west and south. You can kind of see the little bit of Smithfield up at the top and then Hyde Park boundaries down below. It is the nearest industrial zone to this property is located on the same road, 4200 North, just east of the property. I think I have a map on that if you want to go to, this is the aerial. And then from this map, you can see the blue, light blue is the subject property. The purple pieces to the west and north are currently zoned industrial. The furthest north piece is an existing storage facility with units on it that recently expanded. The closer one on 4200 North received approval of a rezone 2023, I believe, but they have not come in to develop that piece, and so it remains vacant. In taking this to Planning Commission, they have recommended denial of the rezone to County Council as the property is not consistent with the industrial zone. Those roads that provide access, the 4200 North and then I believe it's 800 West. Could you go back to the, 800 West to the east are both substandard, and any development on them would require improvements pretty much clear back to the east. So they're not currently served by adequate public roads. Hyde Park City also provided comments that they expressed concern, it being in their future annexation area, that they would not be able to provide adequate services in the future as well. And they're opposed to development on that property, including installation of a septic tank due to a low water table. So they just don't believe it's appropriate for an industrial type use. So again, Planning Commission recommended denial on a vote of 5-1 to not advance this reason.
Okay. Anybody have a question for Angie? Okay, is there anyone here from the public that would like to speak to this ordinance?
So my name's Blake Sparks. I'm owner of that piece of property, and I've owned that place for like 40 years. And it's kind of lower ground, a lot like a lot of the ground around the airport there. It's really untillable ground. I do try to run some livestock on there periodically to keep, the grass and the burrs down. But as I've taken and seen this piece of property down across the street, down the road from me, move to industrial, I'm thinking that it's an opportunity that I can take to maybe move my piece into industrial and develop that there. The piece that went in, that you did move into industrial, I mean, it's tillable ground. I think that we rely on canal water to take and serve that. My place, is unfarmable. I have a well there, so I have fresh water there. I realize that there is going to need to be some road work done around that property, and we have took and considered that, along with when we had our meeting a month ago or so. I realized that there are residential homes to the north, half a mile, and as that played out, it seems like north of that the temple is being built up there. There is added traffic to 800 East, north of me, half a mile, and I understand that roadways there are going to be more traffic, as things develop, and I was just wanting to take and try to provide some infrastructure for us there and try to provide some tax base for us there. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Sparks. Is there anyone else that would like, from the public, that would like to speak to this rezone application? Okay.
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we close public hearing. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, 2025-30. Where did you find that?
Yes, so this is the Greenfield Industrial Warehouse rezone. This is a request to go from the agricultural A10 and commercial to an industrial zone. If you go to the next map, you can see the parcels here. The location is just north of Richmond. This is directly across the road from the Utah Flour Mill project. From this image, it appears to be 3 parcels. But what that's actually reflecting is 2 different parcels, and then one of those parcels has a split zoning. So part of it's A10, part of it's commercial. And the GIS program we have just kind of draws a line to bring that to our attention. So in fact, it is just 2 parcels totaling that 8.79 acres. The nearest industrial to this is the flour mill and the Pepperidge Farm, Campbell's across the road. This is the aerial showing the existing use. That front lot is actually A10, and then the lot with the building, the Y building, is the commercial zone. And then the split parcel just to the south and east is also A10. So those are the parcels they're looking to rezone. They would like to have not rezoned that separate section of 0016, but unfortunately there's not enough acreage to do a division of property on that. So again, any use within the industrial zone would be allowed if the rezone was approved. The stated purpose is to provide more staging area and parking for trucks that are going to the flour mill. Apparently it's been hugely successful, and they need another place to locate trucks and that are visiting the site, both receiving and distributing. So at the Planning Commission meeting, September 4th, public hearing was held, and Planning Commission recommended of the approval of the rezone on a vote of 5-0, with one of our commission members abstaining. The conclusions were that it's reasonably consistent with the industrial zone. It's consistent with the urban expansion overlay of the industrial zone, and there are industrial zones already nearby this property, immediately on the west side of Highway 91. Richmond City provided comment that they had no issues with the rezone. So, if you have any questions for me on that.
Questions for Angie about this one?
What was the reason for the abstention? Was there a conflict of interest?
I believe he has a property interest in it, so. Yeah.
He owns property next, close.
Anybody else? Okay, thanks, Angie. Okay, is there anyone here from the public that would like to speak to this ordinance?
Kirk Aaron's Vice President of Environmental Health and Safety for Greenfield. We want to make sure that it's zoned properly. It's been used by Pepperidge. Their lease came up. We took over the lease from Dina Christensen. And it was used as a warehouse and staging area with Pepperidge. And underneath commercial with your guys' rules, that doesn't fit with inside the zoning where it needs to be industrial, so we can continue to use it as a staging area and a warehouse area for the overflow that we're having off of the industry right now.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Ahrens? Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Is there anyone else from the public that is here to speak to this ordinance?
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we close public hearing. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, all right. Now we get to the happy stuff. 2025-31, proposed amendments to compensation of county elected officials. Amy, thank you for being here. I know that was a rush for you.
It was tight, but traffic was in our favor, so that was good. Now, if the PowerPoint will just cooperate, we will be good.
And before we begin, Amy, I just want to clarify also that this is only elected officials' salaries that we're going to talk about, not the appointed officials. That will happen at another time.
Correct. So here up on the screen, we can see the full-time elected officials' salaries, and this is how we are comparing to other counties. Over to the right-hand side, what's been one of the recommendations from the compensation committee is a 2.5% cost of living adjustment along with a 5.5% market adjustment. This is based off of the average of what employees is being proposed to the council as well. And historically, we have treated full-time elected officials very similarly in their compensation increases the way that we have treated our employees. So as you can look on this graph, the average there is that middle orange line that says average, and that's the average of all of those other counties and what those rates are. You can see Cache County is there in the yellow. And then in the light purpley blue color is the dollar difference and the percentage difference between what the average is of other counties' elected officials versus Cache County's elected officials. So as we look at that, in the assessor, currently the assessor is making $123,028, and the proposed is $133,717. So that would be an 8.69% increase to bring them up to the market average of where that is. So if you follow that example along, you can see how that would play out there with the rest of the elected officials. Are there any questions on this?
No. Does anyone have questions for Amy about this?
The next one we'll want to look at is going to be for our council members. Here is the annual salaries of council members of other part-time councils. The ones that are highlighted in the orange are third-class county part-time councils. And we can see there at the top that Cache County at $24,000 as the annual salary is actually the lowest paid out of the third-class counties. And so what the compensation committee is proposing, we had two proposals that we talked about. The average of the third class, it would be 45,000 for the chair for a council member. And then historically what has been the increase for the chair is an additional 20% because of the additional duties that the chair does, raising that to 50, and I didn't fix the slide. It was corrected last time. It would be 54,000. I apologize for not fixing that slide. If you took the midpoint of all of the part-time councils there, that's showing between third, fourth, fifth, and sixth class counties, the average of all of those, or the midpoint, would be $40,000. And so that could also be a consideration of the council, but the compensation committee is recommending $45,000 for part-time council members and $54,000 for the chair. Any questions?
Will you go back to the previous slide, Amy?
Sure.
Okay, so the average is that orange line up there, but down the proposed rate for 2026.
The proposed rate there is, oh yes, sorry, I misspoke as I was giving that example. Thank you. So the proposed rate, as we look down at the bottom, so let me just start over with that example. How about that? Okay, so for the assessor, the current rate is $123,028. The cost of living adjustment would be $3,075.70. The market adjustment would be the $8,766.53. So the proposed market, or the proposed 2026 rate would be $132,870. So thank you for catching that. So then the what's being proposed then is that bottom green line for the market adjustment for the full-time elected officials.
Okay. Perfect. Does anyone else have any questions for Amy or anything you want to clarify?
I just had a question. When I was trying to look into this, and I know we were comparing counties of the third class, did we look at employee count and annual budget for those?
So all of the third class would, you know what that is. I mean, I don't have those numbers off the top of my head. We're grouped into counties by population, and so it would be very similar. So there's a range of population that third class counties would be at.
But yeah, I was just wondering, like, administratively, so there might be a third class county with, let's say, a county library system or a rec center that might require more administration. I was just, I don't know if you had any data on that.
Well, we would be the biggest of the third class counties, and so I would just assume, not knowing, that they would probably have less of an infrastructure than what we do, because we are of the highest population of the third class counties.
Employee count would probably be higher.
I would assume so as well, yes.
Thanks.
They just barely went to third class. Okay, anybody else have questions for Amy? Okay, thank you so much, Amy. Okay, this is a time that we open this up to the public. If there's some public that would like to speak to this ordinance, this is the time to come forward.
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. All right, 7F, Resolution 2025-33, the third quarter county budget amendments. Matt Funk, our esteemed auditor. Thank you.
Council members, I've passed out an updated version that's been changed since the one that you received yesterday. There are two changes which I will highlight. If you look on page 5, you will see at the top of page 5, number
25, item number 25. This is a request to fund the appointment of a new deputy for the Office of the Executive for the remainder of 2025. This would allocate $21,800 to the full-time employees' object code for that department. It would allow $5,900 for employee benefits, and these funds would be drawn from the appropriated fund balance.
Benefits?
Yeah, I thought we weren't doing benefits.
The entire $27,700 would be drawn from the appropriated fund balance. Are you asking why why there's a benefits?
We understood there would not
URS.
be benefits.
There are to be no benefits associated with that position.
Okay. We will then, I will make a note of that.
We'll make an amendment on that.
He's still here to.
May take.
You can leave.
Is he just learning
You get no
that?
benefits, Kurt.
Sorry, Kurt.
I think it's in code that there are benefits provided.
They
I think they can choose not
They can
to.
choose to not
We checked that with Amy.
take benefits.
Yeah.
On the bottom of page 4, item number 24, the Cash Community Foundation. This is a request to transfer funds from the general fund, non-governmental department, to the Cash Community Foundation, $5,000 to be used as seed money, I suppose, for the America 250 event.
Okay.
I'm reminded Brittany notes that the employee benefits, the $5,900 is includes a provision for FICA taxes, so we're going to need to we're going to need to include that in there, and there's a URS component in there as well.
Thanks,
So-
Brittany.
Those are the two changes, number 24 and number 25, to the items that you were sent earlier. Would you like me to go do an overview, or do you have any specific questions about this budget opening?
We went through it quite thoroughly in the appropriations meeting, but for those of you that weren't there, please ask any
Just to
questions.
ask an obvious question, the reason for the office, is that's a change in salary from what it was before for the previous deputy? Is that what that's about?
No, the previous occupant of that office is receiving severance for the remainder of the year, so so the funds from his salary are not available to fund this new employee. So for this brief period, we need to make this adjustment.
Correct, yes, got it.
Okay, where is the number 20? Okay, I just wanted to mention as well to everyone, in appropriations on number 20 for the senior center, they have a truck that they have a lease on, and the buyout on that lease is $41,000, but that's money that was in their budget for something else. They had budgeted to buy a vehicle that the state ended up paying more than they expected. So we had already approved money in the budget for that vehicle that they don't need. And they do have this lease, and I talked to the director of the senior center today, and I also checked with Matt. That truck is on a lease that has a four years left on it. It's a contract that we cannot get out of. If we take that $41,000, we had talked about maybe not even doing that and just eliminating that truck from our inventory, but we don't have that option. And spending the $41,000 to buy off the lease now is cheaper than, because then we can keep it for 15 years. They can keep driving that truck for their maintenance. But if we pay the next 3 years on the lease and then try and buy it out, it'll be far more expensive. It'll be over $15,000 more. It was, I believe, the figures that I was given. So in appropriations meeting, we had talked about eliminating that from this budget opening, but it sounds like legally we cannot. We do still have to continue the lease. We could terminate the lease. Yeah, we can't terminate the lease, so since this is already in their budget for this year, I would think that I would like to propose that we leave that in there in the budget opening the way it's written, so that we can continue to, so that we can buy out the lease on that truck. That was probably one of the only differences from appropriations meeting. I don't know if anybody else has any other requests or any questions for Matt at this time.
Just to make clear, I believe I followed, but, so the 41,000 was already budgeted in the senior center's budget, but we need to have it in the budget opening to reallocate it to this purpose. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. All right, any other questions? Okay. All right, is there anyone here from the public to speak to our budget opening that was posted? This would be time for you to come. All right.
Close the public hearing.
Second. It's been moved and seconded that we close the public hearing. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. All right, now we move to our consideration of action. So the first one we have is ordinance 2025-26, the Lauer Foods Extension rezone. This is the time for the council to consider and deliberate amongst ourselves. This one was recommended as approval from the Planning Commission, 6-0. Does anyone want to address that and talk about this?
I think it's pretty clear and pretty clean, and therefore I would move to go ahead and suspend the rules and pass ordinance 2025-26, Lauer Foods South Road Extension rezone.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we suspend the rules and approve ordinance 2025-26, Lauer Foods South Road Extension rezone. Is there any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that passes. All right, ordinance 2025-28, the SBA UT 4138B rezone. That's the one in Paradise. I believe that's the one with the little site,
Oh, yeah.
the overlay for the
Yeah.
cell phone tower.
Correct.
Okay, does anyone have questions for Angie or anything you want to discuss?
Yeah, what buildings in Paradise are big enough to put a tower on?
I know.
But anyhow.
Is the dell where it looks like a pine tree?
Yeah.
You can't
I think
even
it's better
tell.
to be just honest with what it
They
is.
look real.
We can get a palm tree maybe.
Yeah, it's
out there.
Paradise.
Yeah.
The palm tree might be more fitting.
I would make a motion that we approve 2025-28. I suspend the rules and make a motion to approve ordinance 2025-28, the SBA UT 24138-B rezone.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we suspend the rules and approve ordinance 2025-28. Is there any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, ordinance 2025-29, the Sparks Ventures rezone. That one was the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended denial, 5-1 on that one.
I did have a question. You mentioned that septic tanks, that it wasn't, that area wasn't a good area to have a septic tank. Is there any septic tanks in that area that water table is too high?
Well, there are some residential homes that are north of that on 800 West, so I'm assuming they do. And again, we didn't get anything from Bear River confirming that. It was Hyde Park City that brought that to our attention and was one of the reasons they opposed the rezone as well. So.
I'll just share, I can't remember if you shared this as well, that the roads 4200 north and 800 west, this was in the notes, they were considered substandard roads and would need substantial improvements.
Yeah, and I believe that's one reason why that other industrially zoned property to the east has not been developed yet, because of the substantial road improvements that would be required. So.
The other question maybe for the gentleman that spoke earlier is if you can't grow on ag land, what are some alternate options for that zone? Or is that pretty much it?
Well, the A10 zone allows for a variety of different things, including ag. A single-family home, granted, again, the low water table and septic might be an issue, but if there's water rights there and they were able to figure out a type of septic system that worked, that would still be a possibility. Yeah, I don't have the full list of ag things, but those are the main ones.
There are other options, I
Yeah.
guess, is the, yeah.
Okay, I will go ahead and make a, suspend the rules and make a motion on ordinance 2025-29 that we follow the planning and zoning's recommendation of denial.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we deny ordinance 2025-29, the Sparks Venture rezone. Is there any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. All right. 8D, the Greenfield Milling Industrial Warehouse rezone. Does anyone have any questions about that one?
This one's an easy one to me.
Yeah,
They've
they've been,
It sounds like they just want to be compliant with something that's already
Yeah.
been done.
yeah.
They're already doing it, so. I move to approve ordinance
Suspend the rules.
Suspend the rules and approve ordinance 2025-30 Greenfield Milling Industrial Warehouse rezone.
Second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve ordinance 2025, suspend the rules and approve ordinance 2025-30. Is there any further discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay,
Thank you.
all right. Ordinance 2025-31, proposed amendments to compensation of Cache County elected officials. All right, let's discuss this. Do you want to do the council salaries first or the other elected officials? You guys tell me.
It's easy to do the other elected officials.
Okay, we'll do the other elected officials first. If you look at the green proposed rate, which added in a COLA and a market, most of them do not even bring us up to the average for the other third-class counties for this state, except for one, and that's our county attorney, who is already above average. So I don't know if you guys have had a chance to look at that, if you want to.
The ordinance references that the attorney stays the same since they would be over.
Okay. So they would stay the same rate that they are?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The rest of the ordinance references the rates that are on the sheet in front of us.
Okay, what do you want to discuss that? Do you want to make a motion? I know that our new county executive would prefer that his rate not be raised, but I think in order for future executives to be paid fairly, we're going to probably pass that tonight, but we'll work with our HR department to make sure that it's done equitably for your wishes. But that's something we all need to discuss. And I don't know, Amy, do you want to talk about that? Our new executive would prefer that his salary be lowered?
What my preference is that the salary be set at $125,000 and no benefits. That's what my preference is. And I would like to address the subject that you're talking about.
Okay.
We've just been through an election process, and we've had a significant group of candidates. I think if you look closely at the candidates, at the salary you've chosen to put, all of those candidates would be receiving a pay increase to become the county executive. I don't think there is a connection between those that are willing to serve the public and the salary. Just bluntly, I don't think there is that kind of a connection. And I think you can economize on the county executive and have good people served. And it is my preference that you reduce my salary to $125. I think that's adequate to attract the kind of people you want to serve as county executive in Cache County.
How does that work for the future, Amy, if?
I was just going to make a comment that it's important to consider everything in the future because people will be filing in January for these elected seats that are up. And depending on the type of candidate that you are hoping to attract, or if Mr. Daines is going to run and that's where he wants that to be, then that's something. I just want you to consider future possibilities. And I think that that's the same thing that Mr. Daines is explaining. So it's up to the council.
One of the things that we repeatedly said on the compensation committee is we're removing all personalities and all of the sitting officials as we discuss these salaries. And I think that goes into this current situation as well. We're removing everybody, we're discussing this. So if you're talking about an executive of a corporation of 400 people, they're going to be making less than other individuals whom they are overseeing. I don't think that that is proper. I think they need to be making more than the people that they are overseeing.
Yes, and that definitely was one of our big conversations in the compensation committee, is that elected officials, they're not receiving pay for performance, and so we need to take the person out of the situation and out of the consideration because the people are the ones who are going to decide on their performance and if they get reelected or not. And so we need to consider what it looks like in the future and to be paying equitable with the market so that we can attract candidates that may have that type of skill set to accomplish the tasks that we're asking them to do.
Okay. And I feel like the proposed rates are less even than the average for third-class county elected officials in almost every case.
Yes.
But still would be a raise to our elected officials who did not get a raise last year. And I don't know about the year previous.
I don't have that right off the top of my head. I'm sorry, but I know that we did have a few years that some did not receive an increase. I do also want to call it to your attention, the auditor and the sheriff, those have asterisks next to them. This is because people that they are supervising, their rates are coming up very close to what that elected official is. As we look at succession planning and who would be maybe someone to step into those roles, it would be probably their second in line that would be favorable for that or be willing to run for that office. And if it's not an increase in pay, but they're having to do more duties and be more in the spotlight of an elected official, that may be something that they choose not to run for because of that reason. So I would just wanted to point those out to you that maybe consider the sheriff there maybe a bit more towards the market and possibly even the auditor. But that's up to the council.
So I have a question, Amy. So respecting Mr. Daines' wishes, we could keep it at this rate for 2026, but then pass resolution at the beginning of 2026. So it's advertised as this for this rate, but then just address that salary at the beginning of 2026 to bring it down?
I would need to work with the attorneys, and that's something that Jairus and I could talk about and maybe bring back to a future meeting. I would hate to give my assumption with not knowing all of the laws and legalities that we need to follow with that, so.
Do you mind if I
Yeah.
address that a little bit? Yeah,
Please.
so the law requires that the council holds a hearing whenever the compensation for elected officials is going to be raised before the budget. And the way the law suggests is the final budget. And so that it might be something that you'd consider on an annual basis, but we can look at that further just to see if there's any other exceptions or anything to that. But just off of the top of my head, that's what I recall the law saying.
If I may, I appreciate what the executive has said and is doing, but I also want to point out that we have some outstanding individuals currently who are, as elected officials, that aren't, I think, deserve more pay even though they're there. And I appreciate what the compensation committee's done on that. I look at our auditor, I look at our treasurer, I look at our sheriff, I look at all of those positions, and I think they're worthy of being paid what a market rate is. And And that's tough because that's some very good money in the county, but we've got some very good people in the county, so I want to recognize that. And that's my 2 cents. Maybe only 1 cent today, so.
Jairus, can we make a motion on all the other electeds besides the council, and then make a separate motion for just the council's elected salaries?
It's all the same.
It's all under one resolution. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, but-
It'll have to just be
but you could
amendments.
amend the resolution if you wanted to.
Okay.
To read that way.
Okay.
Jairus, if the council passes a salary that's higher than what Mr. Daines is talking about, does he need to take the full salary, or could he request to be paid at a lower rate?
That's a question I'm not sure about. I would want.
That's what I wanted to look at too.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Okay.
But if we state it in this motion, then we can change it again, just like Catherine pointed out, correct?
Well, what Jairus says, if the public hearing has to be held before the budget's passed, once we pass the budget, we can't change it for 2026. Is that
But I don't
isn't that
think
correct?
Mr. Daines is going anywhere during 2026. Can we hold you to it?
It hasn't worked in the past.
But it's publishing it for whoever declares in
Right.
January.
Yeah,
So that's what we're saying is we want it.
Makes this one tough.
I know. I feel like personally that we need to pass it at this rate for the next person that runs, but I don't know what the legalities would be then for Mr. Daines to voluntarily take less. And I guess we can depend on Jairus to help us get that settled before we pass the final budget.
If I might, that influences me when we're headed to the council as well, so.
Okay.
And the idea of having a public hearing is so that the public can provide input. So you technically have until you pass the budget to make a decision on these issues that you're addressing today.
Okay.
So there is time. My inclination, without diving into it, is that would be the amount that the county would set, and that's what the county would pay. I'm not sure if there's anything that actually addresses if someone were to not accept that. So I think we would have to, the executive would have to be creative in either donating that money or things like that. I don't know that the law addresses what we want to, but I'm happy to look into it. I'm just not sure that would be addressed.
This is initial proposal. So you don't have to pass it tonight.
True. Okay.
Has anyone heard from constituents on compensation? I've heard from a few people. I can share what I've heard, which is, I realize that the increase is probably a drop in the bucket of the $70 million budget. You know, we're talking about a couple $100,000, 0.01% or less.
83.
Yeah. So, yeah, 83. So, of 70 million, it's very insignificant. So, there is optics that property tax is going up, and let's look at anything that we could cut, right? So just to address that, that is a perception that's out there. If you do the math, it's probably not an accurate perception, but because that perception exists, the majority of people I talked to, specifically for council salary, were not in favor of that. I think a modest 3 to 5% was acceptable, but beyond that was, yeah, just sharing the feedback I've received.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes.
Addressing this group of elected officials as part of the compensation committee, we wanted to depoliticize this as much as we could, and that's why we thought applying similar measures of the coal and market to this, then it could be fair to the electeds and also, again, take that heat of the political aspect out of it. And so then that's why we came up with this approach for, again, we're not talking about the council, we're talking about this specific group of elected officials to try to get them on that same treatment as we treat our employees. And so that's how this approach was brought for these 8 elected officials.
Yeah, and I know we are looking for ways to cut our budget, but I also know that our we're proposing a raise for our employees that's necessary because of all that they do. And our elected officials kind of have taken the brunt of that in the last few years where we have not voted a raise for them. They don't get COLA or market automatically. It has to come specifically. And I feel like that the elected officials we have are excellent. They are doing such a good job, and they deserve to be given a raise, which still they're not even, if we do what's proposed, it doesn't even put them at the average. That's my opinion. The council pay we can talk about differently, but yeah.
I think it's important to remember too that these are our full-time elected officials, so this is their career. This is not a part-time job for them. They don't have other full-time employment. This is what they do every single day. I want to say 8 to 5, but I know it's not 8 to 5. It's 8 to whenever the job is done.
It is 8 to 5.
I know, it's 4:57. We are still working today. But, you know, I want to just point that out that this is their full-time job. They do work tirelessly. They do a lot for the community and for our county. No matter who sits in that position, that's what this elected official should be paid.
Yes.
Never sure whether I'm to speak or
Oh,
not.
yes.
I support the elected officials, the assessor, the whole range of those. I would think that the increase that you proposed there ought to be done, and I wouldn't want what my decision is to affect your treatment of any other elected official.
Thank you. Okay, does anyone want to address the proposed rate for the council members?
Yeah, boy.
Amy's looking at me because she knows as on the compensation committee, I was like having a mentee bee, as my kids would say. I was having a breakdown. I was like, I can't go and suggest this to the council because I felt like it was too much. So they voted, and I did not vote for this, the amount that was. I respect the committee, but I did not vote this same amount as they voted. So I was outvoted. The amount that I proposed was $36,000 for members of council with a 20% increase for the chair. So that would take them to 43.2.
Rather than the 45 that the compensation committee.
Rather than the 45 that the compensation.
I would be
committee
much more comfortable with that than I would not have supported 45.
We're still
below
but-
average, below market,
but that was what I had proposed, and was outvoted.
And I agree with you, except for one thing. I have watched the chairs of the past council and the current chair. You guys put an amazing amount of time in. I would have no problem with the chair making what's there, but I do have, for my personal opinion, for me, I would almost like to take the stand that Mr. Daines is, that I would stay at what I'm at and give back the other. That's my personal opinion, but because I agree with what Mr. Garrity says, but at the same time, we got to reflect on, new council members coming in, but I'm sitting here, you're stuck with me for a while, so.
Well, and I just also want to point out the fact that most of the council members have full-time jobs, and that the time that they take to do this, many times they either have to take personal time off, or it costs them money that they would have been making through clients or through their personal employment. And I think that needs to be considered, I think there's value in what we do. I think the things that we do for the county, we oversee a lot of different things that affect our taxpayers. And I know that I have such great respect for everyone here and for the deliberative way that we look at things and the time and effort that everybody puts in. And so I just think that needs to be thought about. Especially when we're looking, as like Amy said, when you want qualified people to run for this office, and we don't always want it to be people who are retired or who are already done with their career, then we really get a monolith of thought processes. We want to encourage young people or people with careers and families to have their voice in this council, and that requires a great sacrifice to their family and to their career many times to do this job. And so I just want to put that out there. Okay, I would entertain a motion if someone's ready to make a motion, or if we want to continue this. This is the initial consideration. We could continue it to our next meeting, or we could have a motion.
I'm not ready to make a motion, but I do want to say there's a lot of changing dynamic. We have a new executive. This is me watching from a distance over the last 8 years, but I've seen the council put in more time gradually, and I don't know if that's the council executive dynamic, but I think there's a potential for that to change. So I do worry that if we're basing our compensation off the time we've been committing based on the past, that may not be the same commitment going forward. So, and with, again, the property tax stuff is on my mind, and I would feel better about increasing our compensation personally if that was sorted out. So to what George said and what Nolan said, I would, consider, at least until the next election cycle, if we do pass this, I guess I can't take less, but maybe donating the surplus until we get that figured out.
Anybody else want to comment or make a motion to continue? I guess we don't need a motion to continue, but.
The hardest pill that I have to swallow on this is I don't in any way want to, as we start talking about compensation, money, it kind of just hits me a little bit that it starts bringing the word public servant, kind of starts pushing that down below, the career individuals. And I hope that we don't raise this so high that we lose we start losing some vision of, hey, I'm here to serve the people of Cache County. I mean, some of you guys are in the same boat as me. As when we first got on the council, I remember Janine calling me, say, hey, will you come down and fill out some paperwork? And I said, what for? She says, well, so you can get your pay. I had no clue that we even got paid. And so I just don't want people to just look at the dollars, see, hey, and that's what exactly I'm going to do it for. That's the only thing that that's the only thing that kind of worries me a little bit.
I think I'd have more friends if I didn't do this.
Yeah.
You didn't know you're getting paid, you didn't read your packet, because
Yeah.
they go over it with you
Yeah.
before you,
I don't think
so
24,000.
that was an oversight. Yeah.
You know what?
24,000 a year is not going to be a career for anybody.
I think the biggest thing, and I've said this and Sandy said it, I want to have a diverse council. I think it represents the county, and I think it brings a rich dialogue. And we can't just have it attracted, the people who can afford it be the ones that can do it. I'm a young family, we got other young families here, there's a cost. So I think that there's some type of compensation that comes with that cost. So, whether it's
I just wanted to point out that the last time the council received a raise was in 2022. So if this raise were to pass being effective 2026, it will have been 4 years since the council has had an increase. So just thought that might be a fun fact for you to know.
Thank you.
On that note, I think when we look at any kind of budget stuff, we should look at incremental changes. So I will state for the record, I am in favor of a modest incremental change.
Then name a number. Keegan?
5%.
5%?
Yes, Andrew.
In addition to Amy's fun fact, I have another one. You guys, from my understanding, are the only part-time county council in the state that do not receive benefits.
That's true.
That's something that also isn't exactly taken into least on the face. So I'd also want you guys to remember that in your decision.
Okay, so am I hearing that we want to continue this discussion to the next meeting, or does somebody want to make a motion? Does someone feel strongly enough about making a motion?
If we continue it, can Jairus get back to us on Mr. Daines and some of those other things so that we have more clarity in this? Or can it be, I guess it can't be split because it's one, right?
It's one it's one
But if we
ordinance.
could have clarity as to how we deal with Mr. Daines and that would help in some things.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't think I will find anything that would suggest otherwise, otherwise being that you receive the pay that you get. And then at that point, it's really up to you to determine how you're going to use that money.
How does
I
our
don't
president get away with it then?
You know, I still think that you're a good man, but we've got to not think of you as separate. I think we need to just be more visionary, out further.
To the job, not the person.
I agree with that. Whomever will be
It has
in.
to be the
What any of us
individual,
do
not
with
person
the
that's currently in the position.
compensation is nobody else's business.
If George, God forbid, gets hit by a bus next week, then the executive salary should be what it should be, regardless of who's sitting in it or what they personally want to take.
Okay, so but for lack of a motion,
Oh,
yes.
What would be an ideal situation, I think, is to set the salary of what you think is best long-term, but give the person who's serving an option to take what they feel comfortable with. I came into this office obviously saying that budgets need to be cut and so on, and I just don't feel good about taking the additional funds. So set it where you want, but let me just take what I want. I'd appreciate it if I don't have to pay taxes on what I don't take.
Okay, so we're going to continue this to our next meeting, is that what I'm hearing? Unless somebody wants to make a
I'll make a motion. I will make a motion that we pass ordinance, let's suspend the rules, we pass ordinance 2025-31 for the elected officials. Amending it to read that council members make $36,000, the chair making 20% more, $43,200, and all the other pay as outlined in the packet. Do I have to read all of those?
Nope. Okay, I have a motion on the table. Does anyone want to second that motion? Okay, motion dies for lack of a second. Thank you. All right, it will be continued to the next meeting that we have. All right, so Resolution 2025-37, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. Third quarter budget amendments, 2025-33. Okay, does anyone have any further questions for our auditor before we discuss this and vote on it?
I am fine with this, it was gone through, so
Okay.
I will suspend the rules and make a motion for Resolution 2025-33, third quarter county budget amendments that we approve as presented.
I'd second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve Resolution 2025-33. Is there any further discussion? We suspend the rules to do this. Okay, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, we go to 8G. Andrew, are you presenting this one? Okay.
Good evening, Council. So Resolution 2025-37 amends the ratio apportionment of the property tax that you guys passed back in December. This is the 0.3% sales tax that you guys allocated 75% for the purpose of public safety and 25% for the purpose of transportation. This resolution would be amending those proportions such that it would be 60% public safety, 40% transportation.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for Andrew, or anybody want to discuss that?
I would also like to point out that this would be effective January 1 if passed today, January 1 of '26.
So I had a question about that. This is to kind of fix, because we did 3 quarters this year, not quite, and so this would balance it out for 2026 being.
Yeah, when you do the math, the exact amount that went to public safety would be pretty much covered by that 60% now of the whole year, rather than 75% of 3 quarters of the year.
Yeah, right, okay.
And I will just say this, in order for the tax commission to allow us to change this apportionment on January 1st, we have to pass it before the end of September. So that would be tonight. So if we want to amend that or change it, we can, but we need to pass something tonight or it won't go into effect January 1st with the tax commission. Does anyone want to discuss that or ask any questions? Make a motion?
I move to suspend the rules and adopt resolution 2025-37, the adjustments to apportionment percentages of sales and use tax for public safety and transportation.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we suspend the rules and approve resolution 2025-37. Any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Hang on.
Oh, wait,
I
hang
have
on.
one question on that. Was
Okay.
the purpose of transportation, we still have ability to remove that where we feel like it needs to go, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, we did, the budget amendment we just passed set up a separate fund for that. So it goes into its own separate fund. Okay, so it's been moved and seconded that we suspend the rules and pass resolution 2025-37. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. All right, our pending action, the resolution 2025-35 and 32, we would like to strike from the agenda and do some further, we need to do some further.
Continuing it, we're going to take them
I don't think
altogether?
we should continue it because we're gonna need a few weeks to, I don't think we need to keep it coming on every agenda until we get some things settled with the, our optional plan.
Is the interest to move it back to OMP?
Yes. Yeah, there were several resolutions within that ordinance, or several, there was a resolution and an ordinance, but they probably need to be done one at a time through OMP. And so that'll take a little bit of time. And so I don't think we need to continue having this on our agenda.
A lot of it was just technical.
Some of it was. We can unpack that.
I think I support the intent to move it off the agenda. Some conversation, I think we've all heard it from the executive too, that he would appreciate some more time to review this particular item that was already in motion prior to his selection. I think it makes sense to continue this on back to the OMP where the executive will have full opportunity to be a part of that deliberation.
So Jairus, to do that, do we need to make a motion to take it? We don't want to continue it. We just want it to, what do we do legally?
Move to strike 9A and 9B, many pending action, right, currently.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we strike 9A and 9B pending action for now. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Dave.
I didn't want to put you on the spot.
Like I did, sorry.
Madam Chair, can I
Yes.
ask a question?
Please.
So Amy, I'm going backwards now.
Okay.
I'm unsettled on something.
Okay.
In 2022, the council voted, and when we voted on the elected salary, didn't we only vote on council and not the others? Because as it presents now, I'm split because I want to give.
It was separate.
Yeah, I want to give our elected people who have a career a vote.
And you
You're
can,
splitting my vote by me having to vote for council too, and that concerns me, and it seemed before we were separate.
I agree with Nolan.
and you can strike, if you want, you can strike it from that motion or from that resolution.
I just
Or
think
that
that
ordinance,
should
you
be
can strike it
discussed
and then
because
bring it up
I'm
as a separate one.
hesitant as heck because I want to give our full-time elected officials that recognition, but I want to talk about the councils
Yeah.
in a separate deal.
Agreed.
The part on that,
So just
as
continue.
I remember, you're right, your recollection is correct. That's what the council did. That was prior to half of us
We
not being on
only
the
voted
council.
and we-
And maybe that's what Amy's talking about, but I think maybe there's been code change that we would need to look at for what is considered an elected official. If not, then I
Well,
totally
and-
agree with you that that ought to be a separate
But
discussion.
it goes into effect January 1st, so I think continuing it,
But as we continue it, I'd like it split or look at the opportunity of splitting so I can really voice my support for the full-time elected officials.
Just make that motion.
I can make that motion?
well, didn't we already, we went past it?
No, it was just died for lack of a second.
Oh, it died for lack of a second.
We can go back and do it again.
It's
Okay,
continued.
it's continued.
So it'll
Well,
be in the next
something like
agenda.
this?
Agenda.
Like, for example, if I was to say, Madam Chair, I move that we suspend the rules and that we pass ordinance 2025-31 with council member and council chair pays taken out of that
Resolution.
ordinance.
That ordinance.
And I will second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we suspend the rules and pass ordinance 2025-31 with the amendment to remove council pay for the county council and the council chair. Is there any further discussion?
So, Madam Chair, I think it'd be best if you were to bring it up rather than
Would you
me in the middle.
accept an amendment to pull me out as well, so that I'm not decided tonight and we have that additional time?
I won't.
Settle.
No, and the reason
I agree.
is that, again, I don't want to direct
I agree.
You,
Executive George Daines. I want to look at it as the county executive.
Yes. And as Catherine mentioned, if you're the CEO of several hundred people, that's a reasonable salary.
I want to look at them as a generic pay.
And hey, take it this way, the council supports you, so.
Yeah. And if you want to donate it or do whatever, that's your prerogative.
We can set the pay, but whatever's arranged by legally,
If he can only accept a
that's,
portion of
that's
it.
between you, the attorneys, and
Only
Amy.
gets taxed a portion of it.
well, I think they can work that out legally.
Sorry for saying that, though.
Okay, I have a motion that was, and second, that we suspend the rules and pass ordinance 2025-31 with the amendment to remove the council pay and the council chair pay. Is there any further discussion?
So will that portion be continued to the next meeting?
We continue to the next meeting.
That would be up to the chair and the vice chair to get that portion put into a different ordinance later.
Okay, all right. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, that passes. All right. The USU Homecoming Parade is supposed to be October 18th.
18?
Yep, it's the Saturday, the 18th. I will not be there. Does anyone?
I don't know. It's too far in advance.
Okay,
Too far.
all right.
Have your Halloween costume figured out?
It's too far from now. I don't know what to do.
Do we want to suspend council member reports and go into executive session, or are there things that people want to share with us? I want to give you ample opportunity to share.
We just did it a week ago.
I know, we were just here a week ago.
I can share just a COSAC update. I attended the meeting yesterday. They had a presentation from the Utah Agricultural Land Trust, who has very similar goals. So they've identified some properties that they can work together on.
Oh, good.
And just an update too, their next meeting, they're bringing their recommendation for the letter and the postcard, how much it's gonna cost, so they can get that to council for approval.
Okay.
That's all.
All right, thank you, Keegan. Does anyone else have a report of something that they would like?
As mentioned, tomorrow, 3 o'clock here, we've got a bunch of people coming, so if you can make it, it would be important.
Yep. That'll be a meeting on, and that's open to the public, correct?
Has to be known.
Just for those that it's a meeting on water. It has a lot to do with water.
It's been noticed on the
Yeah, it's been
website too.
Will it be very similar?
Did you invite our representatives, Casey Killen?
I did not. I've invited the state water engineer, I've invited the Bear River Health Department, I've invited the U.S. Geological Survey Group that's doing the study on the water, I've invited fire, I've invited a county engineer, a county executive, planning and zoning, and the county council.
We should probably include our legislators, if
I
there's
could
any way we
extend
could
it.
get them here.
Yeah, if they can
Yeah.
make it, that'd be a good idea.
Okay, anybody else?
Will be very similar to the last meeting that we had with them.
Well, we've only had a meeting before with the state engineer once, that was
Yeah.
with Will Akins, and he had some interesting points about other counties that I think would be something to discuss, so. But I also want, for instance, there was a fire in Petersboro just recently, and so our fire department wants to talk about some things, when we consider subdivisions that is facing the planning and zoning. Jairus is probably aware of that too, right?
Pressurized systems.
So I think this gets a snowball that we might have more, because it's not just water, it's subdivision, it's issues in the county. How does the county provide services for certain size of subdivisions or whatever's going on? So, yeah, I'm just like, it's gonna be a lot of things that
Okay,
we're
well,
gonna
we will,
be discussing.
I think most of us will be here at 3 tomorrow for that meeting. Okay, does someone want to make a motion about the executive session, please?
Move to go into executive session, how will you from the back, right, we're gonna read it, right? For the strategy sessions to discuss purchase, exchange, or lease of real property, including any form of water right, water shares, or to discuss a proposed development agreement, project proposal, or financing proposal related to the development of land owned by the state or political subdivision.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we move to executive session for the reasons stated. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.